Time for a review of Mate Factor Fresh Green Mate Loose Herb Tea. This is the Healthy Energizer, that's their claim. And this is a noteworthy brand because of its freshness and lightness. It's not roasted or processed otherwise. And I saw it on a review. It was in my wish list on Amazon for months, and I decided to go ahead and give it a go. I like mate, but the prospect of having something that's a little bit more vibrant and fresh was very appealing to me. I'm going to go ahead and get some of these leaves into the Han Solo cup because the water is ready. We don't want the temperature to drop. Let's see, how about an appropriate amount? I guess, oh, I don't know. That's a healthy dose. I don't want to be up all night though. Lots of responsibilities on the morrow. So let me just pinch out some of this herb so we can have a close look at it. It is vibrant and greener than the mate I remember from the other brands. So I suppose the brand I'm most familiar with is Guyaki. I have probably had mate from a couple other manufacturers, but we've got the dried leaves. Very appealing. Well, just the barest hint of a vegetal smell, with that hint of the distinctive mate aroma. The leaf does look uniform in size, processed or ground expertly. I don't see any significant numbers of stems or chunky big amounts of thick stem. And overall, it's a good experience so far because the quality does seem to be higher than the other grades, the other kinds that I've tried, which are, I suppose, manufactured a much higher volume. So there we are. Now for some packaging notes. My hand is covered in mate here. I'm going to seal this up nicely so we can have a look at the packaging together while my refreshing herb tea steeps. Mate Factor. I don't know anything about this company really, and I think that most Western consumers of mate, casual consumers who have a casual knowledge of this food stuff, are just limited to a few different brands. And I have in the past enjoyed some of the Guyaki ones. There's some canned ones that they're doing. I think they're really on the forefront of that. Chilled cans of mate with various flavoring agents. The one that was most pleasing to me when I drank it with some regularity was the classic gold one. I'm pretty sure that was Guyaki, and it had a tamarind flavor as well as some lime mixed in, giving it actually to be a refreshing fizzy type of a beverage. It was a lot more savory than you would expect, and more savory than other things on the market. That's what appealed to me. Well, I like these dark earth tones. We have kind of a bamboo border here on the branding, or on the name of the product, and it looks almost like it's a watercolor, some type of an inked parchment appearance. Organic, that's a high point. Organic, the organic claim does have weight. It does hold water in the West. Anything labeled natural is not regulated, but the organic label does have a degree of regulation. So I don't want to oversteep it, but with mate, I think that's really not too much of an issue, I don't think. So, yeah. And on the side here we have some preparation hints. And they give you a number of different ways, including at the bottom, the coffee maker, the old coffee pot. Use your coffee machine as normal, it says. So this is an appealing way to get the consumer interested in mate. And I've always thought that tradition is fine and dandy, but sometimes really when you need the drug effect, all of the ritual just is going to be pushed to the side anyway. And then they have done a good job here of verifying and validating that opinion of mine, that when you want a lift and a pick-me-up and you're going about your busy life, your busy day, sometimes you don't want to do some measuring or adhering to these time-honored traditions. You just want the drug effect. And that's often where I find myself, and I've gone to great lengths on some occasions to become caffeinated enough to perform my duties. So here we are, discover the factor. First I'm going to give a little sniff test as we continue evaluating the bag. Very light vegetal aroma. Color is a dense, swirling hunter dark forest green. I may have went a bit overboard with my pour. Discover the factor. Fresh, not aged, without a smoky flavor, rich with antioxidants. So this company seems to care about the product. The only other note I'm going to make here is it says that it's processed immediately and vacuum sealed with low heat, drying it with a low heat, protecting those vital nutrients, it says. And I did notice that inside it did have a brick, akin to those coffee bricks that you'll find. And I have already snipped it, and I had already prepared it for the review. And I wanted to get a sniff of it a few days ago before it was time for this. Once again, a painted appearance of the leaf, almost watercolor-esque. And well done. A vibrant, appealing bag. Hopefully we're going to be treated to a vibrant, appealing cup. And more claims here. This is what I'm going to avoid. Yep. I'm not interested in their health claims. And even here at the bottom it says they have not been evaluated by the FDA. This is the trouble with products as they reach the market. In my other mate review, I think I went to greater length on my opinion about those products that are on the threshold, and then they're trying to find a marketing niche by making exorbitant health claims, or any health claim that's not peer reviewed. I would find suspect. So now I need to find a place to put my mate infuser. I think I found a spot. Right on top of this tea that I'm about to do some unboxing of. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Now, everyone, the mate itself, after infusion, still retaining something of that vibrancy, bespeckled, appealing. And for me, I've not had time lately to really enjoy cups of fine tea or to really enjoy the ritual of caffeine at all because I'm far too busy. So it's often just, if I do happen to get a day off, I brew up a very strong pot of coffee and drink it throughout the morning and afternoon. But in the stable, it's good to have a variety of caffeine beverages and a little bit of choice in the matter. So, my aim is always to not make it too strong. And but with that pour, I mean, with that it's just so common for me to give it the heavy pour, so. So in my nostril cavity, and there's a middle, it's sort of landing in that middle zone with some earthiness, not a musty earth, just more of a just kind of a decaying vegetal matter smell. But that middle band is really where it's concentrated. It's not got any sparkling top notes, and there's really not a lot of depth. It's not earthy in that way. It's more of just kind of a vegetal, decayed earth aroma. Now for a sip. All right. So this retains the mouthfeel of water. There's a very light body. It infused for a good long while, probably 8 minutes, 8 or 9 minutes, and still it's retaining those characteristics of just hot water. A little bit of slipperiness on the lips. It's got a little bit of an astringent quality on the roof, concentrated mostly on the roof of my mouth, not really along the gum line or on the tongue. Soothing in its way, quite soothing. Something a little bit more of a, I hesitate to say this, but kind of more of a medicinal quality than the other mate I reviewed a few months ago. Not as in like diagnose or treat any disease type of medicinal, but I mean more of a it has less of a quality of something that you would drink for pleasure and more of a hint of that. A lot of the flavor profile here is medicinal, and I'm straining to really expound on that. It's sort of got a hint of mintiness, like garden mint, but that is folded into and buried within more of a medicinal taste. It's very, very herbal, in a very real way. The liquor is really dark. This is coming from a very dark brown out into a brownish, or I guess maybe a brackish green on the edges. But for its color, it is extremely light tasting, and this to me is awesome. After savoring now about a third of this cup, I feel more settled. I feel a bit more mental acuity and more buoyant. It's a caffeine analog, I believe, so it's not the caffeine we're accustomed to from actual tea. So this is not from the tea plant, which is used to make a variety of different infusible drinks with various degrees of oxidization and processing. But this is a totally different plant than the actual tea plant. But it's got a version of caffeine that the marketing claims is an analog of the caffeine we're all accustomed to, with that powerful, searing, explosive hit of energy and the resulting crash. But for me, none of this really applies. I mean, I drink so much caffeine all day long anyway that caffeine to me is just, it's just, I mean, I do take a lot of caffeine pills in the mornings when I have to go to work, and I'm not going to, I don't have time for the ritual or the experience of coffee. I can't take coffee with me. I have to have a quick I have to get ready quickly and there's not really going to be an opportunity for me to be casual about my day or about my work duties. So 4 days a week I take a caffeine pill in the morning, just a small one, just a 2 cup of coffee dose, and I find that gives me not a not insignificant amount of energy, but not a natural kind of a buoyancy that would allow for great acuity. So I do prefer the liquid beverages and the natural caffeine that comes from plant sources that's not been completely laboratory processed. So in that respect, I think this is a great beverage. And all those claims about it being a different type of caffeine or a less jolting lift, I don't really think I buy into any of that. I just haven't had any caffeine since this morning, so I'm experiencing a good deal of lift from this because I also don't really have any calories in my system. Well, that's it for the review, I guess. Mate, I think, is a great product to add to your stable of caffeine beverages to use. And Mate Factor, mild, zesty in its flavor after a fashion, kind of a good depth of flavor, minty, delightful, possessed of the drug that I love so much. So, cheers.